We're live.
Hey, hey. Here goes the laugh.
Yeah, so hey guys, welcome back to the Christmas edition of the Matt Brown Show. This is probably going to be the last show. You never know with me and what happens in my world, but probably the last show of 2018. So to commemorate this, you'll notice we have decorated my studio with lots of Christmas apparel. And also today I have gifted the Matt Brown Show as a Christmas gift to Carmen Murray. Carmen, welcome.
Thank you so much. And you're going to regret this.
I probably am. I'm already regretting it. So Carmen, who are you? I know you have your own show, but why don't you fill our viewers and listeners in on what you're all about?
Sure. So I'm Carmen Murray. I'm all about getting businesses future fit. I'm passionate about fearless women. I'm quite an activist when it comes to that. I'm a purpose activist. And at the same time, I run a business that focuses on customer journey mapping. Well, not just customer journey mapping, but customer experiences and innovation. And I love tech.
And you have your own show.
Yes, I do.
The Carmen Murray Show.
The Carmen Murray Show. So the Carmen Murray Show is aimed to future fit yourself. And it's all about interviewing celebrities and alchemists and newsmakers, business experts, and just getting a different twist and, from different people on where the future is going in so many different arenas. Okay,
so who have you had on your show?
Let me think. I've had John Flismas on the show. Megan, she's going to shoot me. No, I forgot her name. Okay, Allon Raiz. Allon Raiz was my favorite. We actually had a shot of vodka before the show because I said to her, part of the Mars One project is to, what's her Mars bar going to look like? So I handed over Mars bars to her and I said, here's your first bottle for your Mars bar. And it was a bottle of vodka because you can grow potatoes on Mars, according to the movie that we watched. So I handed it over to her and she was like, okay, where's the glass? And it was like,
she's fun.
She's quite fun.
Cool. So, well, that's great. So if you guys haven't checked out Carmen's show, please go and do that now. I assume it's available everywhere.
Yeah. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, the whole lot.
Awesome. So what's in store for me today?
Please wear this.
Oh my God. So I'm now.
The wrong way around.
Have I really?
Okay. My goodness, you have to give you a sense of style.
You'll
give
notice.
It a round of applause. Come on. Woo!
But hang on, you'll notice I went bling forward, not skin forward.
The stars are
I'm
bright.
all about the stars, eh? Why are you making me go skin forward? That's retarded. I'm going stars.
We have to blink. You had it the wrong way around. Yeah.
Okay, blinging then.
Now you
Great.
look cute and it's going to suit everything that the internet has to
see
say
the headlines
about you.
now. Matt Brown wears
Okay.
bling reindeer horns.
So
Shut up, Sonal.
Okay, so something that we do on the Carmen Murray Show is I have an assistant. I'm very scared of saying her name because she's going to interrupt us.
What is her name?
Her name is Alexa.
Alexa.
Okay, because she's on and she's listening to every word we say. So
is she listening to you or anyone?
To anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Listen, the coolest gadget ever, and she's much smarter than Siri.
Is she?
Yeah, I don't like Siri on my show. She embarrasses me way too much.
Tried. It fails.
Yeah, I know. Okay, cool. So let's start. Alexa, sing us a Christmas song.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. La 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 la
La.
la. 'Tis the season to be
So no one knows the words. They just clap. Come on, Chris. You sing in a band. Sing, goddammit. Give him a mic. Give that man a mic.
Alexa, stop. Do you want to hear something very cool?
Yes.
Alexa, can you rap?
My name is Alexa, and I'm here to say I'm the baddest AI in the cloud today.
Oh!
Fast, but mine are faster. Sucker speech engines. They call me master.
Very cool.
Legit.
Okay, so she's my co-host and she will be part of the show today. So if she gives us a little bit of a problem,
They call me gangster. What is it?
Gangster.
Master.
The country song is the worst. But yeah, I'm not going to go there. It's not the right time
I'm a
for
fan.
this.
I'm a fan of Alexa. She's cool.
I love Alexa. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go and have a look to see what is the first image that comes up when I Google Matt Brown.
And what'd you find?
The Immortal. It's like this WWF martial art
MMA.
Kungfu person. I don't know.
The real Matt Brown.
Yeah. So I wanted to know, do you have all of this muscle because you're trying to aspire to be like him?
No. Although I would aspire to be as savage as he is. Do you know that he's actually died before? So he was a drug addict, and so he overdosed on heroin, and this was before he became an MMA fighter. So when he died, he somehow came back to life, and then immediately went and bought a few more grams of coke. But then he got into MMA, fixed and, sort of sorted out his life and stuff, pretty much similar to what I've done. And so when he gets into a cage, can you imagine going up against someone who's already died? It's not like you're going to hit him in the face. He's like, this guy's just got another level to him. So he's described as a savage. So I'm glad that when you Google Matt Brown, you find MMA fighters.
Okay, but now you touch on something very interesting. So you said that there's a lot of similarities to you in your life. So what do you mean by that?
Just in the sense of, having to reinvent oneself. So, I've founded 9 companies, 6 of those failed. I sold 2. Hopefully I'll do all right with this one. So far, so good. But yeah, failure and basically taking on challenges, which is kind of what Matt Brown, the MMA fighter, does better than a lot of people, is that, he takes these things, head on, and he solves the problem that's in front of him. And he's also not really a media whore like you would find, who's that Irish fighter? McGregor. I mean, I love him. Okay, but you can see the differences between the two personalities. So Matt Brown just gets in the ring and fucks those guys up, and then that's that. Makes his cash and he leaves. McGregor's launching whiskey brands and suit brands and all these kind of things. So I kind of relate more personally to Matt Brown, the MMA fighter, than McGregor. Although I do have a show and stuff like that. So that's a bit of a paradox.
So look, I think that's quite fascinating, and my husband actually. He taught me everything about sports. How he taught me how to learn about football was with a pair of shoes, the offside rule, because I knew nothing about football. I mean, hello. I sound so like a dumb blind, but although that's something I don't like to say. But the interesting thing is that there's so many lessons to be learned from any type of sport. And I mean, Jenna Clifford once told me that you really need to have the skill of sport to teach you the tenacity and endurance that you need to pursue in order to make your career work. Yeah, so I've just taken up jiu-jitsu. Oh, really? Yeah, because I listen to Joe Rogan a lot and I really dig the MMA scene. So it's actually about discipline, and being able to understand that every situation is different. Like if you're gripped in a certain way, there's a certain response to get your opponent to the floor. So equally, if he comes from behind or is from the side or whatever, there's always different, responses based on what contextually is happening. And so also to master anything, it requires an incredible amount of discipline. So when it comes to discipline, you're either going to suffer the pain of regret or you're going to suffer the pain of discipline. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they're not prepared to basically be disciplined enough to get to the result. There's, and I'm not talking about everyone, I'm saying it's prominent, and every single successful entrepreneur I've interviewed over the last 3 years has that quality. It's just an incredible tenacity and fight to take on things that are bigger than them. And that's what's great about jiu-jitsu. Like my son, he's in the bottom 25 percentile of size, right? So at school, he's going to be a fucking machine, because if anyone touches him, he's going to break them. And that's what I hope for him. But that's what jiu-jitsu does. It's a skill set that allows you to take on things that are bigger than what you currently are. So it enables you to then foster belief in oneself and develop a kind of tenacity to take on the world completely on your terms. Those audacious goals.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I find business pushes you from pillar to post. So And, you oscillate between incredible highs. Like when we've closed 7-figure deals this year, it was like amazing. And then oftentimes when you lose a client, which we've also done, because they weren't the right client for us, it feels pretty shitty. You know what I'm saying? So oftentimes it's really about how you translate those experiences personally and how you then use that lesson or insight, to your point, to then move yourself and your team and ultimately your business forward.
100%. So now that we're talking fighting, come on, flex some muscle for us. Okay,
fucking
flex
embarrassing. Okay, there you go.
Okay, he's flexing a muscle. Okay, so the reason I asked him to flex a muscle is not for any other reason, but the fact that we need to look at 2018 and go into the muscle memory and try and understand, were you born? Did you know that you're going to be an entrepreneur? Was it something that you aspired to? Was it something you learned? How did that journey start as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I've watched my dad fail a lot, also succeed quite a lot. So yeah, I mean, look, it's just, he used to drive me around Cape Town, the streets of Cape Town, and when I was very young, like 13, and he'd point out shops on like Adderley Street, and I remember there was this neon like sign shop, where you put neon signs outside of retail stores, and he was like, yeah, you could run one of those. Or in the next shop, or you could do one of those, trying to get me to think about business and what have you. But really where the seed came from was when he opened up a gun shop in 1990. Sorry, this is before 94, so this is probably like in the 80s, when Chris Hani got shot. And everyone went and bought guns. Like we were on the brink of civil war. There were riots on the streets. It was a very, very scary time for South Africa. And he just happened to own a gun shop. So they were literally taking hundreds of thousands of rands a day cash over the counter, just selling guns. So the business did really well, but it couldn't scale. And the reason why it couldn't scale was because him and his partners didn't see that business as a business that could scale. It didn't lend itself to scale. So when you're in a bricks and mortar sort of play, it's like it requires another bricks and mortar store and another. That's cash intensive business, right? So if your market's not liquid enough, then how do you enable that? And if you don't really have the desire and the hunger yourself and as an executive team to see that business scale, it will never scale. And so what they didn't do was scale. And ultimately, when the steam left the market and everything calmed down, the business eventually closed. So they missed their kind of opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I mean, I guess the lesson there was just really watching my dad fail a lot and also succeed a lot. And then he started Fast and Fresh Logistics. He had a wood distribution business.
He's done a lot.
Yeah, he's done a lot. And so, yeah, that's just part of those things. And by the way, like, this is the thing, like, most entrepreneurs get that seed from their parents or watching some, like Brian Altrich from Rockamom is also another one, it's just something that's ingrained in you,
Yeah.
Michael Van Straten from Verymark, same thing, or you're just not employable. So I have a really bigger problem with authority because my dad was pretty strict on me as a kid. So I'm like very much like, fuck you. and like in terms of motivation, and so, yeah, so when you bring those things together, that creates a desire just to, go and build things.
Wonderful. And I think it's also a great lesson for your audience, but I think for all of us as entrepreneurs is the fact that you really need to be committed to it. It's not just like, okay, I'm just arriving and I have this big dream. You really have to understand what that is. And it is inspired. In my case, for example, it's been inspired by failures, lots of failures through my parents' eyes as well. And I was just like, I'm not having that life. But yeah, quotes of the day.
Oh, right. Yeah, quote of the day. I actually tweeted this.
You're giving it away before you say it.
No, but I want to get this right because I think it's really, really important because it kind of sums up a lot of this year for Digital Kungfu and for my team. So the quote goes, one of the greatest weaknesses of people in business is the preference for being right over the need to be effective.
Wait, sorry. This needs a... Booyah! Okay, that was cool. Say it again.
Yeah, so so one of the greatest weaknesses of people in business, entrepreneurs, is the preference for being right over the need to be effective. And that really is so fucking true in the world of crypto, where there's just a load of opinions and no real evidence and a lack of use cases in general. But also just from a client agency relationship, it's like you're paying an agency to be creative to solve a problem for you. And if you as the client aren't prepared to give your agency the rope it needs to be able to be effective, then the relationship will never be sustainable. Do you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, well, it's identity politics actually, and how that then manifests in the business space. So it's about being effective. Like that's how effective, for you personally as an entrepreneur, like how you live your life. Like I've stopped drinking and basically been, completely sober and clean for like 18 months.
Congratulations.
Because that's what it takes. You know what I mean? So like I got to a point where I wasn't dealing with stress very well, and so we all have vices and stuff like that. And mine was basically things that don't really lend itself to success. So I basically canned that shit. And so again, it's sacrifice, and so you have to, in order to be effective, it's all about sacrifice. And actually it's got a lot to do with pain. So like, this business has a certain kind of pain. Like every one of my staff here has a certain kind of pain. So do you, billionaires, multi-millionaires, I don't give you who the fuck you are. Like you have pain, and it's about dealing with that pain in such a manner that it doesn't define you, but that it actually pushes you forward. So that's what it means to be effective in the personal space. But then also in the business space, well, then what does that mean? And that's actually about unlearning things, taking on, challenging your own beliefs and your own conventions about how you think things should be. And putting faith in your people, because without great people, you don't have a business. And so that's what it means to be effective in that space. So it's actually about, looking at the two sides of the coin and saying, well, what do I need to change within myself in order to be effective as a human being ultimately, so that I can make a difference to the staff that are, that work with me, but also the difference that it can make to my clients and ultimately to the world at large, and that's those dynamics, and that paradigm needs to be consistently evaluated every week, every day, in different ways. And it's hard. And that's actually where growth starts, because entrepreneurship, at least in my view, is like 80% personal and 20% business. It's like how you interact with people, and also like you got to have a connection to something bigger than yourself. You got to have connection to a community that you serve, like jiu-jitsu or, creative people, whatever the case is. And, all these things combine to create someone of value, because that's actually also where the game starts and stops, because the question is, can you be competitive? Not just as a business, but can you be competitive as a person? Like my son, if that's all I hope to be instilling in him, is the means to be effective and to be competitive against everybody else. Because the tools, if you go back 10 years, if you had access to the internet and versus someone that didn't, you win. Now, if you're looking at the whole world being connected in the next 3 years, to 5 years or whatever the case is, and now you've got, Microsoft's Head Start, which we launched. I mean, you get all these tools, ridiculous tools, cloud-based tools for free, right? So the tools are now for free. AI will become available for free. There's Singularity Net, which is like a marketplace for AIs, regulated by AI. So if you're some kid sitting in the Congo and you have a great idea for an AI and you build that thing, you can make a lot of money. Yeah. Right? So the tools are no longer the game, it's actually the person. So that's really where I see the biggest opportunity for any entrepreneur, whether they're aspiring or in market or otherwise, is to play the game of growth and value. And in the process of doing that, being competitive.
I really like what you're saying. And, most reasons why entrepreneurs fail is because they don't do their research properly. And they don't understand the needs of their customers or their clients and the service that they need to provide. Yes, we see, this disruption, although it's a word being used very, very loosely, but we're seeing how technology is evolving. I personally believe that we're going back into the age of the Renaissance, getting creative again. Getting back to your roots and actually sitting down with a friend. Recently, we were sitting down on the floor like two little kids, and the creativity that actually flowed out of us was absolutely amazing. No distractions. So it's in this age, you need to make time for that. That 70-20-10 rule, the innovation rule. 70% of your day should be spent on day-to-day operations. 20% of your day should be spent on improving your day-to-day. And 10% should be spent on exploring and letting the creative side flow. And I think that's such an important thing for entrepreneurs, because you try to be something for everyone. You have to do business development, you have to execute, you have to do all of those things. How do you cope with that? Because, obviously your team has grown immensely. I was quite shocked to see how big your team has grown.
Round of applause.
Round of applause. Well done. Let's see. Oh, she's listening way too much. She's eavesdropping.
So I guess... So what's the question? How do you manage all of that?
Well, before everybody arrived, how did you, as you would say, hustle this whole baby to what it is today?
Yeah. So just to go back on why I think, or why businesses fail is people like to point to cash flow. Yes, and it's a symptom, but actually you can solve that shit. You just sell more. Yeah. So what does it actually come down to? So for me, it's about giving up. That's why businesses die. It's because at some point the founders give up. Something happens, they blame cash flow, but actually it's sales, and therefore that's your problem. It's not, it could have been solved if you had just done those things. Look, it's not in all cases, but in a large portion of the cases, it's because you quit. And those 6 businesses that failed after years of fucking thinking about it and meditating on it and really processing stuff, it actually came down to that one thing, just quitting. Shit got real. We'd put millions into a business. It wasn't turning a profit, and it quit. There's no excuse when you're in the hurt locker to quit ever. We're talking to Ian Furr a couple of weeks ago on the show. He put 19 million into Sorbet, okay? And it hadn't turned a profit after 5 years. It was even longer, 8 years.
Sure.
Do you see, if I can tell you now, out of 1,000 entrepreneurs, 990 would have quit. But he was like, fuck that, I'm going to keep going. And as soon as he started his franchise store, it then started to take off. And now he sold this to Bidvest for God knows how much money, right?
A lot.
So that's the game. There's always another move. No matter how hard it gets, there's always another move. So going back to your second part of the question, 6 months ago, or 5 months ago, it was basically me. Only me, right? So so I hired Mav, and we were in a broom cupboard at the Mesh Club for I don't know, whatever it was. And then since then, there's now 10 staff. We've got a client in New York. We've done work for the United Nations. It's it's scaled, and the market is shit, right? And then you say, well, why? Why is that the case? And I think it's just purely, there's no one thing that you can point to, but the one thing I will say, it's the hustle. You just never quit. You just keep pushing. I pivoted digital Kungfu 3 times to get to where it is, trying to find a space, a niche that's liquid enough to build a brand and a business that can scale. And it took 18 months, 2 years to get to that place. Countless conversations with the wife and with myself about why I should run to the safety of corporate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've been there and I've done that, and once you do that, you start to realize, well, what if?
Yeah.
So again, going back to the thing, either you're going to, suffer the pain of regrets, or you're going to suffer the pain of discipline.
Yeah.
And that's actually that's why I believe this business has started to scale. Next year is going to be huge for us. We've got, I think, 4 clients onboarding in January.
Well done.
So but mainly also, I have to say, it's because of the team.
Yeah.
So I have to thank all of you guys for making this happen, because, without you guys.
Done. Oh my gosh. Woohoo. You need a booyah. Booyah. For those of you that don't know, my business is called Booyah. So
Stop crying,
is the thing. It's my little booyah hand. So what I wanted to talk to you about, so the interesting thing is, and I'm experiencing this in my journey, is you start the business and you're full of energy and you're super optimistic, and then the reality hits. And then it's this is actually a very, very lonely journey. It's not I love what I do and I love people, but I just want to be around people all the time because I'm that kind of person. And then dealing with the realities of that, it's that there's a lot of tenacity and perseverance that needs to take place, but picking yourself up all the time is not an easy thing to do. So how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, great question. So I don't know. You either have the fight or you don't. And yeah, I don't think it's one thing. It's just, I use that quote. It's like, it's not how hard you get hit, but it's how hard you got hit and can you stand up again. Yeah. It's just like you have the fight in you or you're not. It's like I've said many times on the show, anyone can become an entrepreneur, but it's not for everyone. Like, it takes a very particular type of personality the other thing I will say, it comes down, any successful person that I've interviewed, when you start to peel away the onion layers, you will find a vein of pain, something where they were disadvantaged, something bad happened to them, and they were like, fuck this. I'm not going to let this happen to me again. Either it was like, the fact that your dad didn't acknowledge you, never said that he was proud of you, or whatever the case is. There's something in your past that deep down in you is a belief that you hold on to, and around that belief are a set of values that you just hold so close to you that you won't compromise. And so it's like as an entrepreneur, you're negotiating with yourself every day. It's like, am I going to do this or not? Correct. And if I don't do this, then this is what's going to happen. It's like, if this it can't fail. It's like, there's an analogy. One of my failed businesses was I was 26 years old. I just sold my record label and I decided I was going to teach people about how to achieve shit. So I was in London. And
what shit?
Yeah, like how to achieve goals.
Like it's like growing ganja somewhere in the basement.
No,
or
that's
what?
another business. So basically, it was a self-help company. So I had a bit of a story. I was 26, and I built a whole bunch of content, and I booked a venue, and I did some marketing and bought some ads and what have you. I was living in London, and on the day of the event, I pull in there, and I've got like 50 seats, and I'm thinking, cool. And guess how many people arrived?
I don't know.
Only one. Do you know that was? Me. So not a single person arrived.
My God.
And what I didn't realize at the time was that as a 26-year-old, who wants to take advice from you about life? It's because you haven't really lived. Right? So but you don't know. You don't know. And that's the thing. You don't know what you don't know. So it's not even the devil that you know. It's like, you just don't fucking know until you're there.
Right.
So then what I did was like, well, how do I fix this problem? And I think if I would have worked out a way, do you know what I mean? I would have changed the narrative so that it better suited business, for instance, like a business coach. Okay, much better than a life coach. Do you know what I'm saying? Back then. And so that was all popularized by movies like The Secret and all this kind of crap. So I kind of lost my way, but that was like a huge failure. Do you know what I mean?
But it's not a bad failure.
No.
I mean, those failures are definitely, every failure in your life comes together in this one point. It's like how a star is formed. So you do need those failures.
Yeah. So if you fail, you learn, so you win.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Spot on.
So, but that's the negotiation, right? So, but you're either negotiating with yourself to fail or you're negotiating with yourself to win. And ultimately, the bridge between those two things is the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't have it. My story then when I was 26 was, well, who wants to take advice about life from a 26-year-old? Boom, business failed. When we put, I don't know, it's like a couple million into a tracking bracelet for kids, for parents, so you could track the location of your kids. And we were importing the products from China, and the literally is true, crap Chinese products. They weren't waterproof, they broke, and so we wanted the business case was there. It just required too much capital than I had access to from the sale of my previous business in order to invest in this thing to keep it scaling. And so I gave up again because I didn't explore things like crowdfunding. I mean, it was there, the biggest disruption in funding for businesses ever, more than ICOs, more than anything else. And I just didn't explore it because the narrative in my head didn't allow me to, or didn't get me there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So that's really what it is. It's the story that you keep, telling yourself about why you can't have something, why are you the victim or why are you the victor? And, I think, looking back at digital Kung Fu, this is why we specialize in storytelling, because it's the psychological way to approach value creation in the brand and communication space. It's expressed differently, whether you're a brand or whether you're a person. And that's why we focus on CEO branding or talent, branding of talent, and then branding of brands. And that's going back to the question a while back, which is, why have we succeeded, is because we're actually getting fucking good at storytelling. And that's really the kind of thing. It's always been with me. It's kind of like now, I've got 2 book deals. I've got to somehow write these bloody books. But
I was just saying, writing a book is no joke. It's a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, it's hard, man. And I got new kid at home and everything. So it's like it's super hard. But again, it's all story.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much.
What do you think is the secret to storytelling?
Structure. So when you understand that a story is a sequence of events that leads to something, then you can always tell a story in a formulaic way. So people seem to think that, a lot of brands think they have great stories, but maybe they do, but they suck at getting that across. You've got fragmented messaging. You've got media that's, massively fragmented. And it's like people say, well, what is digital Kung Fu? Well, we're a storytelling agency that's built for the now. We don't take briefs from clients. We workshop the story, and that's that. And then everything we execute against is on that story. Nothing else, nothing less.
So one question that I want to understand from you, we're living in a very sensitive age. I'm very proud to say that I am a feminist.
Q.
Can we have another one in the house?
Mandala.
There you go. And it's just all about equality. But then there's also the gender, rise of gender equality, gender one. There's the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. There's so many interesting things that are happening, but we're in a highly sensitive culture at the moment where brands can really tell a story and have the best purpose. I mean, Pepsi, for example, had the best intention with Kylie Jenner handing over that Black Lives Matter.
That was terrible.
That was an awful example. Some brands really don't get it right.
So big agencies getting it wrong.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it was a nice idea, poorly executed. So, we're living in social. I had Mike Starforth on the show last week, and and I agree with a lot that he says. And he was basically saying, social media has fundamentally changed the way that people communicate, less so brands, because brands, it's like people hate advertising. They really do. I mean, the bullshit radars are very firmly attuned now, and we're living what do you trust on Facebook?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? I hate Facebook. I keep uninstalling the app, and then for some stupid reason I have to reinstall it because I need it as part of the work that we do here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's this love-hate relationship with it. I just want to ask you about that. Yeah.
So now working where you have to do storytelling and all of that, and you have to be a practitioner. So you have to be in the Facebook world in order to really get and tell the story. Do you not feel that there's some sort of...
Yeah, so we 90% of our clients are technology companies. Yeah. So we don't need to be on Facebook for that. So this is LinkedIn. This is brand work that falls outside of, the branded entertainment space in a lot of instances. Like my show will be on Facebook, for instance, and where our clients do have a presence on Facebook, fantastic. But, again, it's about generating the highest return possible for the minimal amount of effort. And when you paid a lot of money to build an audience, and now you have to pay more money to reach that audience, and the reason for that is because Facebook, has shareholders and stockholders and so forth, and is motivated by profit. So what do? You stick an ad on your content, and that's what they've done. And so as content creators, we're all looking, I can tell you, I know you will agree with me that you're looking for alternatives.
Yeah.
And so what's already happening is that you're finding that these breakout social networks built around a tribe. So for instance, jiu-jitsu, there will be a jiu-jitsu focused social network with social extensions to other platforms like YouTube and so on and so forth. And also like there's blockchain and cryptocurrency based or token based social media networks coming to the fore. And so when you understand that that's actually where media is moving, it's moving completely off these platforms that were essentially land grabbing exercises, right? Yes.
I love that.
They did an amazing job, and they connected people beyond what anyone could have imagined. And now it's about saying, well, what's next?
Yes.
And where is value?
Yeah.
Because, brands will stay on Facebook because they have to.
It's
in
like
fact,
these living artifacts.
yeah, I mean, like, it's a bit like take F&B or any big bank, it's a CRM channel.
Yeah,
it costs the business. It doesn't make the business. If you're a small business, then by all means, great for awareness, right? You can get
Correct.
people to view your videos all day long for a fraction of the cost. Fantastic. But what's that doing for you? What's it actually doing for you? If you want to get leads to produce content, it's Google, because the intent's behind that. So again, it's difficult to say, but about where it's all going. But I just know that it's not where the paradigm shifted, basically. I would say, and especially from a content creation perspective.
And just further to that point, change is the most constant thing in our lives. So your business change should be embedded in everything that you do. So I don't think that you should be married or committed to one specific platform. There's also, in my view, I don't trust Facebook at the moment. I feel that they are, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, like, I would have a conversation with my husband about like something very personal, like, well, not that personal, but I mean, like, we would have a conversation about a brand.
When I get home tonight.
And we would have a conversation about a brand, and then all of a sudden, I would get this ad, and it's like I'll give you an example. I said to my husband, you know what, babe, it would be so awesome to have one of those old record players and then play Mozart on it, and then that crackling sound, and just to have a different kind of ambiance, to just go back in ages. 5 seconds later, I get an ad from Mozart, some Mozart app or whatever. I was like, what the hell? So for me, there's a trust issue that's building for me, because I'm starting to be more conscious of data and my privacy. It's becoming an important thing. So in that regard, storytelling, I think it's very important to get it to the right communities. For us, we have podcast. I feel that if you I'm starting to realize, like, when you just share it on your own platforms, people get fatigue and they're getting tired. So you need to start putting it in the communities. That topic of that day fits into this community. Maybe you would enjoy that. So do you find that maybe migrating your content to the right communities is maybe the best way to do it?
Well, I think people want properties that they own. Think about it. If I spend X number of hours producing the map roll, this team does, right? So there's a cost associated with this show. Every second costs something. So now I put that on Facebook, and I've got 10,000 people on my page, for argument's sake, and only 100 people see that. Where is the return? So then you say to yourself, well, where are the other constraints on other platforms? So then Twitter, okay, you're constrained by character length and stuff like that. It's like, it's the 7 deadly sins manifested in social media. It's like Twitter is the anger, YouTube is whatever the vanity one is,
Correct.
And then Instagram probably better suited for vanity, or whatever the case is. But my point being, it's like you are investing in those platforms and you're not getting the return. So it's not sustainable. So then you say to yourself, well, how do I then maximize my return? And this is the best manifestation of that is a podcast. So the Matt Brown Show, I own completely. No one will ever compete with me, ever. It's impossible. So, and the other thing is, it's like, once this show goes out, and any show goes out, it's like all my subscribers around the world will get an in-app notification, and it'll automatically download my content, and it's there for them, content on their terms, not content that they're they're sliding through a news feed and they're busy they've only got 2 minutes. They don't have an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, which is getting kind of, my show's getting longer. But my point being, it's that it's media on the consumer's terms, and it's media that you own outright. So,
I mean, if you have a digital home for it,
yeah,
I mean, it lives, and then you have your measurability in place.
Yeah, and I can swear. I can swear on the show. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And you know what? Who's going to tell me not to? It's not a radio station. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what people resonate with. They resonate with the authentic medium of audio because they can sniff bullshit in an ad. Right? Or some clickbaity content on Facebook or wherever else it might live. Yeah. So media that you own will always give you higher returns. So yeah, I'm not saying don't do Facebook. I'm saying do Facebook, but understand why and how. Yeah. And every platform is different. Like you're not going to, it's like you write one post, but you put it everywhere. It's like, well, that's not really the right way to do it. I'm on Facebook to be entertained. YouTube, I want to learn something. LinkedIn, I want to understand business-related information, ideally in a visual way, or through some form of storytelling method that allows me to have a new perspective on the pain that I'm suffering as a business owner, for argument's sake. So, yeah. And also, you can't be everywhere. So context matters. Like I have a team, so I can be everywhere. If you're a startup founder, it's very fucking bad idea to be everywhere. Like start a podcast like what you've done and just do that and have social extensions. But what you focus on is your podcast. Like you can build a huge network. I mean, I attribute, again, going back to your earlier question, I attribute a large part of success for this business because of the podcast. I built a massive network. And I can tap that network up for anything. Clients, leads, referrals. We get referred a lot of business. It's a brand building tool. It's a sales tool. Everything. I mean, I've got demonstrable use cases for all of that. Yeah. And
I'm finding the same thing. It's like explosive. And it's so valuable, but it also gives you credibility in the market. I do believe that, when you just rise up from nowhere and your name is everywhere, people want to hear what you think, what you have to say. Practice what you preach, which is very important. Yeah,
but also it's the perfect medium to tell your story in an authentic way.
Correct.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, hello.
I know. I mean, this is why, guys, if anybody of you don't have a podcast, recommend it. Come and speak to Matt. I mean, Matt really does the game very well. I want to talk to you about something different, though. The Secrets of Scale. This year you did one of those events, one of the first. Maybe talk us through that and your experience with the whole event.
Yeah, so it was called Secrets of Scale. It brought together pretty much all the biggest names I have in my network. We had, Vinnie Lingham. We had international best-selling authors Tom Asacker from Boston. We had Howard Mann, the business turnaround specialist from New York. And then we had Allon Raiz, we had Rich Mulholland, we had, I think it was like about 4 events, 3-4 panelists. Oh, Jason Goldberg from 10X Investments, Marnus Burtrake. It was like the who's who of business locally. Yes. And it was brought together over a series of 4 events over 4 weeks, hosted at the Mesh Club. And the whole idea was, how do you scale? So you've got a business like mine, for instance, and now you want to scale. How do you do that? And so, yeah, I mean, Mav was there. He did all the content for us. That was pretty much our first kind of working experience together. But yeah, I mean, off the back of that, I think we had, it was about over 500 entrepreneurs through the doors.
It was huge.
Yeah, I got a book deal off the back of that. And yeah, just the ability to influence a market through conversation in a forum like an event is awesome. It's like this, but now it's exactly, in fact, this.
Yes.
But bigger. Yes. On a different subject.
On a bigger scale, yeah.
And so when you have that the ability to interact with people, because that's why I started that, was because I'd spent so many times in boardrooms, so much time in boardrooms, I just got over it. So I was like, well, where's the audience? He's saying this thing, like I want to get someone else's view. Yeah. And so it was about doing 3 things, trying to be informative, educational, and entertaining at the same time. And giving people an experience that, again, empowers them to do better things in their own world. And that goes back to the why. Why do you do what you do? And the why here is always the same. I mean, it's about helping people succeed through information sharing at scale, doing things at scale. That translates into the brand space with storytelling and content. But ultimately, the why is the same. It's one of contribution. It's not one that's driven from self. And that was the biggest shift for me. That 26-year-old dude was a dickhead, when he failed in London, because he just wanted to stand up in front of people and be awesome, And so the narrative and the why was wrong. It wasn't like, I can tell you now, like if you chase money, you will inevitably fail at some point. It's your probability of failure is much higher. If your why is one of contribution and is organized from some form of spiritual place and sort of a set of principles, your probability of succeeding is much higher. Because when you get hit in the face, you have the ability to stand up again, because your why doesn't involve your ego. It actually involves something greater than yourself. And so Tesla, Elon Musk, SpaceX, all these really big companies, even Apple to an extent, the why there was about empowering people with the tools so that they can live better lifestyles. Facebook even was to connect people so that they can share moments and information that is important to them and their family and friends. It's all the biggest companies that I can think of outside of your, monolithic fucking companies like GM and stuff like that. All your new tech companies, the true billion, like even Airbnb, belong.
Yeah.
Belong anywhere. All these there's a huge movement towards sustainable enterprise, and Facebook question mark over that. But it's your point. It's like you can create a business that is sustainable and that makes a difference. It's no longer about just chasing the figures.
Definitely. The results will come later. Out of your secrets of scale, you had a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of trailblazers there. What are the 5 lessons, and who did you learn them from, and how did you calibrate it into your organization?
That's a tough one.
I know, I let you warm up. Now we're going to get into it.
So I'm going to hand this over to Mav, because he was there. So, yeah, I mean, look, we have 24 hours of content there, so I'm going to have to try to think through it.
Do you want my mic?
No, it's too shy. So I think the first one is know why you want to scale.
Yeah.
Why do you want to scale? Because it's okay this business could be this size, turnover the same amount of million a year for the next 20 years. Great. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay not to scale, right? You can be run a hair salon, one hair salon that just, like there's a Turkish barber that I go to in Morningside. Like they certainly aren't interested in scale, but goddamn, they're busy.
Yeah.
And they've got
espresso and Parkhurst.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Why haven't they scaled? But then you look at but great example. So you've got Rockets and Parkhurst. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Rockets. Yeah, Rockets. Yeah. Rockets. And so Sean Barber's a friend of mine. So now he's got 13 plus stores. Yeah. But now Rockets. Espresso. What happened to them?
I know.
What happened to them? Do you know what I mean? Like they never ever scaled, but they could have. Do you see? So, yeah. But that's okay for them.
I mean, they don't even let you pay by credit card. You have to pay cash.
Yeah, well, the story's there.
But they have the best pizzas. Anyway.
Best pizza ever, dude. It's my go-to. But anyway, my point is know why you want to scale. If you do want to scale, then understand that that's going to come at a price. So you're going to sacrifice your equity. Mm-hmm. In most likelihood, you're going to sacrifice your team. You're going to sacrifice your home life, because the bigger it gets, the more complicated it gets. The problems don't go away. They if you're a one-person small business, you're going to have a cash flow issue day one. Okay, if you're a 500-man business, like Robbie Brozin when he founded Nando's, he had like 38 stores and couldn't pay his staff. So the problems just get bigger; they don't go away. So you have to be really, really honest with yourself and say, well, why do you want to scale? Like we want to open up an office in America next year, because obviously, I think America is just the gold mine of opportunity there. But why do I want to scale? Because for only one reason, is because I'm curious about how big it can get. That's the only reason. So know why you want to scale. That's it.
Okay,
That's the first thing. Other things was like think local, scale global. So get your product right here, get your processes right, your team. Like we've built some amazing IP here, which is replicable. So if you don't have that internal IP, how on earth are you ever going to scale? So we have that. And then also understanding that people is your thing. Know what skills and resources you need to help scale. So I need a management team. That's what we're doing in Q1 next year. So to your point, not doing like 10 different things, actually just doing one or two. And then some other things that came out. Mav, anything comes to mind for you? You were there for 24 hours. Nothing at all. Mike. Get the mic in.
I think Tom Asek had a good point in saying that you can't really scale a business if your mindset is not right. You have to have the correct mindset to scale a business. And that's what came out for me from the Secrets of Scale events.
Yeah.
The main thing is just mindset in businesses. And how can that affect your business and how can you scale with the correct mindset?
And then another thing that came through was perseverance. So I've had Vinny Lingham on my show twice, and both times he said the same thing. He's like, if you want to scale, then you have to have perseverance, like your number one quality,
100%.
because it's just you're taking on so much responsibility also in that process. The one thing I will say is, the more responsibility you take on in your life, the more meaning you have. It's like, when you're young, you don't know what your purpose and your passion is, and who fucking cares? You haven't lived. But when
the youth is quite purpose driven.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying in general, right? It's like you don't need to have the answer.
Yeah, no,
What you need to do if you really want to discover your meaning and your purpose is to take on more responsibility. And the greatest responsibility, in my experience, outside of family you can ever have is to employ people.
And they have the same vision as you.
Well, the thing is, having the same vision, sure, but also they're not going to be as excited about you as much as you are about the business.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So it's not right for you.
So it's
to
all about the
expect that.
leadership.
You know what I'm saying? Mav, am I right? Even though he loves it, right? You love it, yeah, right?
Listen, that answer was like, I'm not convinced. Oh my goodness. What is going on here?
I'm taking someone else to London.
I'm joking. Okay, I want to understand because with growth comes a lot of pain, as we've just discussed. What are some of the name some of the blind spots that you didn't see coming, and how you dealt with it, where you've messed up, some of those unprepared moments? You can't say never.
No. We've had plenty. So yeah, I mean, I think taking on the wrong client because you need the money.
Value system.
It's it's there's many right clients, but there's only a few that might be right for you. I think also
that should be tweeted, by the way.
And the other thing would be to say that when you're a startup, you are oftentimes forced to say yes to things you don't really need to say yes to. So you can define your business by saying no. That's come up on the show from Rich and also from Mike. But also, it's like, I think just get some runway in play. Do you know what I mean? And know how you, and also the thing is, you don't need to have all the answers. Like, let the market dictate where your business goes. That's kind of, because the moment I stopped dictating, then things took off. That's pretty much what happened. It's like when you're a startup, you have an idea, a vision, to your point, about what you want to build. But in reality, it's like a business plan. It's worthless. You don't really know. It's nice to get your thinking down and, okay, I'm going to do this. But when you actually hit the ground, it's, well, this is actually real. There is no market here. Like, there might be a gap in the market, but is there a market in the gap? You know, and so stop dictating and start letting the market dictate to you. And the other thing that's really come through for me recently is just like, become aware of your own drama that you create, because you hold on to things. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, well, just fucking let it go. So what? Let it burn. And I mean, like, it's, to scale, sometimes you have to do things that don't scale. And and in the process of doing that, you just sometimes need to let fires burn. You know, it's like, well, just let it go, because it's just driving you insane that this thing is happening. And why is this happening? I don't understand. We've done everything possible. Just stop.
Correct.
And detach from it and let it go. And move on and focus on the thing that you need to do, which is to keep, in my case, is to grow my people and grow this business. You know what I mean? Like,
it's that laser focus, you know.
Yeah.
You can't care. I mean, my husband, when he met me, I was very naive and like dancing and tiptoeing through the tulips. But I have managed to grow profoundly under his mentorship. But he's going to kill me if he hears that I'm talking about him. Babe, please don't watch. But the thing is stop being so nice and trying to always impress people, because I think in nature what we always try and do is be super nice. We love them, and then sometimes, to your point, we say yes to the wrong things because we want to please people, and that pleasing people syndrome can really destroy you as a person.
Yeah.
And it actually you can't grow properly from not learning how to say no properly.
Yeah, well, it's a balancing act.
Correct.
You know, because I'm very direct. I'll just say, I mean, my guys
not all
know.
people are like you.
No, but no, exactly. So you need to know how you're going to horse trade with the way that, you know, you translate what you're experiencing, and then how you communicate both internally and externally in the business.
Correct.
So it's hard, because like the things I want to say sometimes, and you just have to not say those things, and then you got to wait 2 days to send that email. So my team's shaking their head going, no, Matt just says it here. So I'm saying many to clients, okay? Yeah, you guys there's no buffer. It just comes straight out. Q, you know I love you. Don't be like that. Look at that face.
Listen.
Yeah, but it's hard, man, you know, and that's a skill.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
it truly
skill.
is a skill.
There's no book that teaches you that ever.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'm enjoying. I'm now moving towards 40, so I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, no, I'm just going. Like, you know what? Whatever you're saying to me is utter bullshit. I don't believe you. Just move on. Let's just like, whatever. What?
no,
I don't usually swear, not because my mom told me it's not polite, but I do swear now and then. Sorry. I should have been a comedian. Damn, taking up the wrong career. Okay. I want to talk to you about hustle. I love the word hustle, but I think people... No. But this is exactly my point. I think it's overused. It's like disruptive innovation. It's like we use it all the time and we say, oh my God, I'm going to hustle my way through this, and I'm going to hustle this job, and I'm going to hustle. But the problem is like, it sounds to me like people are grabbing at straws and don't have a long-term vision. So you have this daily hustle and whatever.
Fuck no.
Like, are you teaching people to have short vision or long vision? Because I'm all about future fit. So I'm just trying to understand that.
That was a branding fail.
Oh, thank God. I was like, oh my God.
That's probably the biggest fail. So this year, it was only to launch a Telegram group. It was always the Matt Brown Show, right? So like we have this branded studio, and we have, you know, Zapiro and Chris, Jeff there, and anyway, a whole bunch of people. Carmen Murray signing the bricks on the wall, sort of thing. And so at our previous studio, we had the Daily Hustle branded, because the idea was to drive interaction on the Telegram group. So that was probably the biggest failure actually this year, in the sense of, one, it was a branding fail. So I took a lot of shit on social media from that.
Really?
Because funnily enough, one of the chicks who is in the Telegram group, who was very active in it and so forth, had a podcast called The Daily Fucking Hustle. So all her mates were like, why you need to call it the Matt Brown Show and this and that. So I was like, no, it is the Matt Brown Show. It's just part of, because we launched also.
And you do have the best podcast, so you're taking her lights away.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a bit. What's her name? Tasneem. I phoned Tasneem. I said, listen, is this an issue? And she said, no, it's not. So I said, well, can you please speak to your tribe of fans and explain to them that it wasn't an exercise of stealing your brand, because the shows are fundamentally different. It was purely, to your point, the word hustle And my goal was to get interactive and personal with as many entrepreneurs as possible, because podcasting's great, but it's not as interactive as one would like.
Yeah.
But a chat app like Telegram was a great idea. Still is.
I think that's a brilliant idea, by the way. Yeah.
It's just, it was launched incorrectly. So then we moved. Now you can clearly see that we got these huge Matt Brown show signs, so there is no confusion. But yeah, anyway, it was a branding fail on our side. But lessons learned. Some things you don't know till you're in market with an idea.
But good on you for recognizing that and owning up to it and say, it didn't work out, now let's move on. Because I think many people cling on to things so much with the hope that it's going to work out, and it doesn't. And sometimes just let it go, as you say. Frozen, let it go. Let it go. Okay. All right. So, question in the house. Booyah.
Who is it?
So Brenton asks, how does one ensure they maintain a positive mindset even when things are getting to a point where you feel like the world is against you?
Wow, that's deep.
Is
You
that
go
for me?
for that. I'll fill in the color.
Hey, Brenton, thanks for the question. How does one maintain a positive mindset? Well, I guess it actually comes down when you think, okay, so just take mindset. So mindset is a group of values and beliefs that you hold in your head. And when things get tough and those beliefs that you have and those values that you have get questioned and interrogated and put to the test, it takes a lot of soul searching to really work out what the answer is to that. The only thing that I would say is that it's a personal thing. So there's nothing I can say that can help you with that, really. But what I would say is if you want to get out of your head, get into your body. Go hit something. Go fight.
Good
Not
advice.
people, but I'm saying get in. Go
This
take
thing
a baseball
actually
bat.
has dents on it. So I don't know who you're hitting with it or what you're hitting with it, but there's dents on this.
Yeah.
But further to Brent's point, something that I believe is also very valuable to keep a positive frame of mind is the rituals that you take.
Yeah,
You know,
meditate,
your
dude.
morning daily rituals. Make time for yourself. 5 o'clock, wake up in the morning and feed your soul before you start facing the world. I think having daily rituals, blocking out your calendar for you, for developing you, because if you don't fill your cup, you're never going to be able to,
Yeah.
be of
Great
service.
advice. Yeah, meditate.
Meditation
do the
works.
things that you love
Yeah.
with the people that you love. Have a man down day. So men are often told to man up. So actually just go and man down. Like I won't tell you guys this, but I'll be like, get going. Where's my shit? And then I'll go and take a man down day.
But you must reciprocate that.
No, but
Do
you
they
know
get- do they get duvet
they get
days?
lots of time off. Don't you?
He says, listen.
Yeah, but
He sounds like a dictator. I'm like scared of him.
Jesus.
Hey? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
but-
I'm just chasing.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's a case of finding things that work for you to disconnect from things, because it's like when you're stuck inside the bottle, you can't read the label. To quote Howard Mann.
Yeah.
So the only thing that you can do is to go and get perspective. So smoke a joint, do a tequila, whatever it is for
growing
you.
seeds.
I'm
busy growing seeds.
Go for a massage or go for a run. I don't know.
Shut the hope I don't get shit.
But yeah, I mean, you got to work that out for you.
No, it's true. Okay, so what does a smart year end look like?
A what?
A smart year end. What does a smart year end look like?
What do you mean? A smart year end. What does that mean?
So we are all going towards the end of 2018. What is the year all about for you? What is a good height to really close the year with?
This show.
Booyah! Booyah! Give him a round of applause. Hey! Okay. Another thing I wanted to do, I think isn't it time for the Injustice League?
Yeah, let's do
Come,
it.
let's do some Injustice League. That's over to you, Mav.
Oh, so this is the part of the show where Matt gets to smash something, not his stuff,
Shit. No, please not my stuff.
with a baseball bat. So Matt, what is your injustice?
I think dealing with corporate bureaucracy. So, just been engaging with some really big companies and the red tape that you have to go through and the ridiculous situations that you have to endure to get paid. And stuff like that. But we try and stay as far away from corporates as possible for that one reason. It's actually too much pain to grow your business that way. We'd rather have clients that are, mid-level, or maybe, just flexible enough to load you as a vendor without having to, wait 6 weeks to do that sort of thing. It's just really painful for a lot of startups to deal with regulation and compliance and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my injustice. I wish a lot of that red tape would go away.
Booyah.
Yeah, bring it in here. Where's my bat?
Yeah, obviously the one with the dents. Is it? Listen, if you could see it on the camera, this is like crazy.
Okay, so bring Rainbow in here.
Do I have to step away?
You're gonna have to go. Yeah.
Shit.
What machine?
Okay.
That machine? No, it'll be fine. I'm going to be... Okay, so we have Rainbow Dash here, personifying corporate red tape. Why? Because unicorns are billion-dollar market cap companies. That's why Rainbow Dash is here today. Okay, here we go.
Getting our mascots just by the way.
Woohoo! Shit! Oh, but there's nothing inside. What's the point? Where's the sweets? Oh.
That, my friends, is how you destroy Rainbow Dash. Zach and Stuart, eat your heart out. They cracked it. It's completely in half.
Oh, wait, there's something. What's this? Oh, no, it's nothing. Sorry, I was just being hopeful. So where do we put this?
You can just put it on the table. It's like...
I don't like rules.
It's like roadkill. Showkill. Oh, I really enjoyed that. That was
And
immense.
you did it with one hand.
Did I?
Yeah. Well done.
It's all my training, babs.
Listen, it's flexing other muscle now.
No,
Can't flex.
no, you got your one flex, I'm afraid.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about the following. So I went to the Urban Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to read this, so I do apologize. I went to the Urban Dictionary to see what do they say about Matt Brown. They say you walk like an Egyptian and you're a tizwaz. A tizwaz. And a tizwaz, informal, a state of confusion, anxiety, or excitement.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Then I think Matt went to go and fill in himself. Matt says they like to look good and dress well, handsome and charming, very successful at life, make great dads.
The last part's mainly true.
Okay.
I'm awesome.
Okay, so...
Awesome dad. Super dad, right here.
Super dad! Well done. Okay, so who is Matt Brown? Who are you really? And what are you all about beyond all of this?
Who really knows? I think I've asked that question to a few guests because I like, who are you, and what's the headline story you want to share with the listeners? And most people are like, well, I'm an entrepreneur and this and other, and again, just a story. And then Brian Ultrich, founder of Rocker Mamas, was like, I don't know, and that was like a 2-hour marathon podcast because he's a spiritual dude doing things, in an innovative way, which is why Rocker Mamas is working so well. But yeah, it's a difficult question. I would say that, it's on my tattoo here. It's actually just about becoming.
I'll read it.
Okay, go. Okay. Read it.
Trust the wait. Embrace the uncertainty. Enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. Beautiful. Nice.
Yeah. So it's actually about.
We should take a picture of that.
Okay.
Come on.
Later. But yeah, it's about becoming, and that's really what I think entrepreneurs have to their disposal more than any other kind of, calling, I suppose, is because you have to grow so much to be successful. You really do. It's not about chasing success. It's actually about chasing the learning that success promises, and in the pursuit of reaching a goal, what you learn about yourself and who you become. So entrepreneurship is more about becoming than it is about building things. Going back to my earlier points about it being more personal than it is about business at the end of the day. Yeah, so who am I as, I'd say, a student of becoming?
And personally, as a family man,
Yeah, it's love my family to death. I was had Christmas carols on, I think, on Monday. It was like 5 a.m. Both my kids were up. I'm like tired as hell, and I had like
Shame.
Michael Bublé Christmas carols playing, and I got all, and I was feeding my baby, and I got all emotional. I had my son in my lap, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm so lucky," you know.
Love that.
Hmm.
Date nights.
Date nights. What's that?
Yeah, I just want to understand if it's a normal thing because we as entrepreneurs can never switch off and be. I battle with being present
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur because I'm always thinking, I need to do this, I need to change this, and I'm very agile. So sometimes being present is very hard, and giving that time for your loved one, that date night thing. Do you get to do that?
Yeah, we do. It's not as often as we'd like, and usually you're just so exhausted. You're like,
On a collapse.
yeah. But to your point about being present, that's a really big thing.
Yeah.
You know, being able to say like, well, when you're home. Like I leave here, these guys know I say I'm going to go start my second job now. So, and I leave here religiously at 5. Like I don't care how busy the studio is because, you know, family is way more important than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, I don't check emails, you know, usually I don't take phone calls unless I know it's coming. And yeah, you know, being present and being able to detach is also a skill. You know, otherwise you'll go crazy. You'll burn out. Yeah.
No, totally. I also know that you're a very good dad, and you have a new one, a little girl,
Yep.
7 months old, to the family, which is keeping you up at night. You're coping very well. What I'm seeing here is looking good, so it's fine. But what is it like raising a child in the 21st century?
Hardest job in the world, by far. I think for me, there's more challenge in that than there is in running a business. I mean, they're comparable, but it's way harder. Like you have to understand, businesses can fail, and then you'll start another one. You know what I mean? If you fuck up your kids, like you don't get to, let me 3D print my baby again and start over. Sorry, love. You know that thing that no.
Yeah.
So you can't do that, not yet. You know,
Yeah.
but we can always live in hope. But it's easily the most challenging job in the world because it's just very, very real. You know, the
And
consequences
responsibility, yeah.
consequences are profound, you know. And so that's why I say, like, you've got to be the best person you can be. To be present, you can't be getting smashed on a Friday night or on a Thursday or on a Monday or on a Christmas party or whatever, and then expect to be present with your kids the next day. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, there's sacrifice in that. There's a price that you pay. So you have to, again, it's that negotiation that you have with yourself, you know. But yeah, there's no rule, there's no book. Again, equally, there's no book for business. So they're comparable. But I suppose when you're so emotionally invested in something, like a child and like a wife and that, then, you know, that's a fundamentally different game.
Totally. Well, we are going to move over to the game. But first off, I'm going to ask Alexa, sing us a country song.
Who, me? I couldn't. I hit it. When my Wi-Fi left me,
While she's singing.
and I'm out in the rain.
What the fuck are you doing?
Last few answers.
Oh, is there presence in that?
No.
Isn't there? What is it? So, my hijack host is pulling out stockings and Christmas hats. This is worrying me.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop.
She is, wow.
She really wants to get her points across.
When you're around.
Okay,
That's-
the words is
that was fun.
AI, so and Siri and all of that. Okay. All right, so Alexa, 15-second timer, please. In 15 seconds, name 11 official languages of South Africa.
Is this for me?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
No, Alexa, that's not for you. Alexa, stop.
It's like a child that's petulant. Look, you really need to work on your relationship with her. You know what I'm saying? You only get to do it once.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you questions. You got 15 seconds to answer it. So, Alexa, 15-second time. Did I say it right?
I'm not sure about that.
Maybe we should move on to a new game.
No, you're okay. Alexa, stop. Okay, so we're just going to leave that. Okay, cool.
This interview.
Okay, so you time.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Emil. Why don't you just throw me under the bus?
Oh, she is on a mission. Hang on, let me just silence her. Okay, cool. All right. On your marks, get set, go.
English,
Yeah,
Afrikaans,
yeah,
Zulu,
yeah,
Xhosa,
yeah.
Tswana.
Say it better.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Sotho.
Ah, you missed it.
Oh, I could keep going.
Oh, you were saying it so slow. Okay, next one. In the South African anthem, we have 5 languages. Name them.
My God. Go Q. Do it. English, Afrikaans, Zulu, Sotho,
Come on, one more.
Xhosa.
No,
Yes.
you got it. Yay. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, so now we're going to do the next one. So name 5 things that you can only find in South Africa.
Jeez. Tough one. Rhino. What? Biltong. No, you get beef jerky. Okay, but we call it biltong. Bokums. Do you know what that is? Bunny chow, pap,
Pop not, polenta, you get over seat.
polenta. Okay, fuck you, Sonal. You fired. Get out.
Okay, so for your great effort, put your hand in and take out a chocolate, please.
Oh my God. Here goes my diet.
Da 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 da.
What is in here? Oh my God. What is this
This
thing?
is not coming from home. This is our
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
chocolate sock.
Regal selection. You
I know,
shouldn't
and
have.
I shouldn't have. I should have quality streets. I know. Okay. Anyway, next one. Put your
Okay, don't even get a chance to eat my chocolate. What is in here? If it moves. If it moves. But I love that you're giving me presents.
Go. 30
What?
seconds.
30 seconds?
Okay.
No, we're not.
So we're doing.
Okay, go.
Okay, 30 seconds. You have to explain things to me in 30 seconds. So we're going to play one round.
Okay, go.
No, you have to say it.
Oh, right.
Okay,
I must explain it.
Oh, is the timer ready? Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Hablas español.
Spanish.
Uh-huh. And what country is it from?
Spain.
Yes, there you go. I must do all of them. Okay. Why? I didn't play this game. Okay, fucking hell.
Quickly!
It was The Lost, and then it was a movie with Bruce Willis. Okay, when you go and you
Die
hunt
Hard.
No. Okay. I hate this fucking game. Shut up, man!
Next one!
There's too much pressure here. God damn it. Where you go and get... Okay.
Oh, okay, we have to do another one. That was a warm-up.
This is hard.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, were you up from 1 until 4 last night? So,
Okay. Right. 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
our national airline.
South African Airlines.
It's a game that you play where you drop them and then you pick them up again.
You dropped them and you picked them up.
Yeah, they're like toothpicks.
Oh, I almost said ching chong cha. But no, chopsticks. Pick up sticks. Pick up
Yes,
sticks.
yes.
Pick up sticks, yeah.
Okay, Afrikaans cricket player.
Oh,
He's
I'm
got
not
the
good
same
at-
surname as Jean, our rugby player.
I'm not into that.
Oh my God.
Move on.
Okay, it's okay.
Ah! Okay, now we're at my favorite game. I can't wait to play this.
I'm worried.
We've been planning this one.
No.
And I've made sure that it has been cleaned and it's hygienic and it's actually brand new.
Ew.
Put the hand in.
The hell's going on
Ah! Okay.
Wait. Is this a dildo?
No.
Okay, I've got it.
Got it? Put it in the mouth.
No.
Yes.
Oh my god!
I can't do this.
You can. If Ellen DeGeneres can do it. I went through a lot of effort to make sure you had it.
really fun.
So.
Okay, I'm making Sonal do this. Come, Sonal, I want you front and
You
center.
have to do it. You are the hero here, Matt.
How does it? Okay, how does it work?
Okay, so you put it.
Don't touch it now. You've corrupted it.
Jeez, I'm not that unhygienic. Okay, right.
Well, you put it on my dirty green studio table. This is sif.
Okay, put it in your mouth like this. And no, take your hand.
Like
Touch
how
it.
dentist when you
Put
go to
your
the
hand
dentist.
there.
Like that.
That part needs to go into your mouth.
Like this.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, don't worry. We'll close the screen so that you can do it in privacy.
No.
Okay. Woo! He's getting it right. Well done. Okay, but now you do it. That's it. Yeah, you have to leave it in your mouth. It has to open up your whole mouth.
And now you have to speak.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna play a few of these, guys. Where's the toilet roll so he can wipe his mouth? Can we hand it? Okay. There's a card. I don't know what it is. You need to explain to us what is on there, but you have to do it with emotion. I wish you guys could see what's going on behind you. They are hysterical. Okay. Oh, okay. What? What language is that? Say again.
Hunger.
Hunger. Anger.
Hunger.
Hanger. Hanger.
Hunger.
England.
Oh, God.
Scotland, Wales.
England.
Okay. Ha ha. Ha
Listen.
Oh, fuck, that hurts. Okay, I'm calling time on that one.
Okay, all right.
What was it?
Vanna White makes my walnuts tingly. This is the most corrupt game.
Oh, no, I love it. Okay, well, for the effort, take another chocolate.
Oh, you just straw, thanks.
Just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity. I really
awesome.
had a ball.
You've been awesome. Round of applause to Carmen. Thanks.
And now we're closing off the Christmas show, and we're wishing everybody out there the most beautiful Christmas. Rest well, and stay tuned to Matt Brown and see what's coming up.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Whoop, whoop.
Woo! What is in it? Okay.
Awesome.
One more.
Another one. Okay, cool. Ready?
1,
Go.
2, 3.
Go. Oh, okay. Boom.
Shakalaka. Okay. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody. Merry
Mike,
Christmas.
Mike.